Plant one thing. That's all it takes to turn your yard from decoration into food. And in about 30 days, during the growing season, you'll see it in real visits. Picture week 4, a single new plant in a pot by the window, and the neighborhood wakes up to it. A goldfinch leans into the seed heads like a tiny sun. A hummingbird hangs at a red tube, backs off, returns, and claims it. A gray catbird slips from the hedge, vanishes, then reappears with a berry. A chickadee works the stems for caterpillars you didn't know were there. Not magic, not luck. One region-right native that fits your food web. So well birds recognize in a glance and add your place to the route. Stay with me. In this video, you'll pick one starter plant for your U.S. region, ground or container. Learn why natives work so fast. See what to expect by week 2 and week 4, and avoid the one shopping mistake that kills results for thousands of people every spring. Buying nectar-starved or sterile lookalike cultivars. By the end, you'll have a short shopping list, a planting spot, and a simple care plan that brings more birds to your yard in a month. Here's the plain English promise. No landscaping jargon. No redesign. Just one plant, place where birds already pause, watered well for 4 weeks. You'll watch for 4 simple behaviors. A hover check, hummingbird or bee. A probe, warbler or chickadee looking for insects. A pick, finch and seedhead. And a theft, thrush or catbird taking fruit. Those 4 moments tell you your yard just became a feeder that never needs filling. Why natives work this fast is straightforward ecology. Birds are not visiting for color alone. They are scanning for food that pays. Region-right natives feed the system 4 ways. Nectar for pollinators and hummingbirds. Insects, especially caterpillars, for chickadees, warblers, and nestlings. Berries for thrushes and catbirds. And seed heads for finches and sparrows. Audubon's Native Plant Finder and Xerces Society resources make the point in charts. Cornell Labs articles making stories. You'll feel it in your yard. A single serviceberry or coral honeysuckle can flip your daily traffic because it plugs into relationships already happening around you. If you plant during warm months and your starter has buds, flowers, or soon-to-ripen fruit, activity often starts within weeks. In shoulder seasons, you may see early scouting and insect gleaning right away, with berries or heavy seed attention a little later. Here's the 30-day timeline most people see. Week 1, plant and water. Pollinators scout immediately. Hummingbirds and bees memorize routes and sample new spots, even if they don't return that day. Week 2, first hover checks, especially at tubular blooms. You'll also see chickadees and other gleaners poking leaves and stems looking for soft-bodied insects. This is an even stronger sign than a bloom visit. Week 3 to 4, regular bird use of blooms, developing seed heads, or ripening fruit are present, and the plant is sited where birds feel safe. It happens faster if you put the plant on a path they already use, by a hedge, near a feeder approach or bird bath, or along a safe hop line from cover to perch. If your weather swings cool, give it an extra week. The pattern is the same. Now, your starter list by U.S. region. I'll give you 1-star pick that works in most yards, plus 2 simple alternates, including at least 1 container option. So you can move today even if you rent, have compact space, or want to test before you dig. I'll also tell you exactly what to watch for in weeks 2 to 4, and where to buy without falling into the cultivar trap. Northeast, Thingy PA to VA. Star, serviceberry, Amelanchier canadensis or A. laevis, a small tree/shrub that punches far above its size. Why it works. Early white flowers feed pollinators. Summer berries attract robins, catbirds, waxwings. Foliage hosts caterpillars. The branching structure becomes a daily perch. Alternates. High bush blueberry, Vaccinium corymbosum. For pots or ground. Real fruit birds recognize. Acid soil preferred. Purple coneflower, Echinacea purpurea. For fast nectar and later seed heads goldfinches love. What to watch for by day 14 to 30. Robins and catbirds at fruit if your plant came in with berries. Chickadees gleaning in week 2. Finches on seed heads by week 3. Where to buy. Search native nursery near me. Use Audubon Native Plant Finder and confirm botanical names on tags. Avoid ornamental serviceberries with sterile fruit or double-flowered coneflowers with no open center. Southeast, coastal VA to FL, west of TX pine/hardwood areas. Star, Coral honeysuckle, Lonicera sempervirens, the native, not the invasive Japanese honeysuckle. Why it works. Ruby-throated hummingbirds dial into its tubular red flowers. Long bloom season. Fall berries for thrushes and cardinals. Pot option. Planted in a large container with a trellis. Still works. Alternates. American beautyberry, Calicarp americana, for bright fall fruit mockingbirds and cardinals raid. Red buckeye, Aesculus pavia, for early spring hummingbird fuel. Watch for hummingbird patrols by week 2 to 3 if buds are open. Cardinals working beautyberry clusters as they turn purple. Catbirds slipping in for berries. Label rule. Skip anything labeled L. japonica or double-flowered, improved blossoms. Open centers mean nectar access. Midwest, OH to MN to MO/KS/IA/IL. Star, purple coneflower, Echinacea purpurea. Why it works. Nectar buffet for insects now. Seedhead feast for finches later. Thrives in ground or large pots. Forgiving care. Alternates. Black-eyed Susan, Rudbeckia hirta, for quick payoff. Native sunflower, Helianthus maximiliani or H. pauciflorus. If you have space and sun, huge seed draw later. Watch for goldfinches at the cone by week 3 to 4. Chickadees gleaning insects in week 2. Butterflies almost immediately if weather is warm. Trap to avoid double or fully petaloid pom-pom cultivars. They look plush but pay poorly. Southwest, AZNM, West Texas. Star, desert willow, Calopsis linearis, a small tree with trumpet flowers hummingbirds adore, deep roots, drought-smart, big summer show. Alternates, autumn sage, Salvia gregii, for pots or ground, any local penstemon, EGP, Etonii. Watch for hummingbird patrols by week 2 to 3 if blooms are present, verdins or warblers probing for insects. Water right. Deep, infrequent soaks. Morning sun with afternoon break is helpful in extreme heat. Pacific West and Northwest, CA North to WA/or coast range to low foothills. Star, red flowering currant, Rebe sanguineum. Why it works. Early nectar for annas and migrants. Later berries for thrushes. Excellent insect load. Thrives in ground and can start in a large pot. Alternates. Oregon grape Mahoney aquifolium, for berries and cover. Western columbine, Aquilegia formosa, for hummingbirds. Watch for annas or migrating hummers hovering within days of blooming, robins at fruit later, chickadees and bush tits working stems quickly. Check labels. Some ornamental rebees are non-native or selected mainly for flower color. Pick straight are sanguineum or wildlife-tested local selections. Mountain West and High Plains, COUT, WYMT Dakotas. Star, serviceberry, Amelanchier omnifolia, or chokecherry, Prunus virginiana. Why it works. Spring bloom for pollinators. Heavy summer fruit for thrushes and waxwings. Cold hardy anchor structure. Alternates. Blanket flower Gaillardia aristata, as a bright, container-friendly pollinator magnet. Rocky Mountain penstemon, Penstemon strictus, for hummingbirds. Rabbit brush Ericomeria nauseosa, for late nectar and seeds. Watch for insect gleaning by week 2, finches at sea by week 3 to 4, fruit visitors as ripening starts. Now, plan it right and avoid the 2 traps that kill results. Sun, match the tag. Most nectar/seed powerhouses want 6 or more hours of direct light. Soil, in ground, loosen the top 6 to 8 inches. In pots, use a quality peat-free or peat-reduced mix with drainage holes. Water. In heat, water daily for the first week, and then switch to deeper, less frequent soaks so roots chase the moisture. Mulch 2 to 3 inches, but keep it off the stems. Do not fertilize with high-nitrogen lawn food. You'll get floppy leaves and fewer flowers. Do not spray pesticides, especially anything labeled neonicotinoid or systemic, because those chemicals move into nectar and kill the very visitors you invited. Biggest shopping traps. Double or fully stuffed flower forms that hide or replace the nectar center. Improved sterile cultivars that make no seed or fruit, and non-native lookalikes parked in the wildlife section. How to win. Read the Latin name on the tag. Look for the straight species or wildlife-tested native selections. Pick open center blooms you can see. Ask your nursery if their plants are neonic-free. Confirm with your state extension or Audubon's native plant finder before you pay. Placement matters more than perfection. Birds reward plants they can use without getting caught. Put your starter near cover and on a path they already take, a hedge corner, the approach to your feeder, the side of your bird bath, or the safe hop line beneath a favorite perch. If your windows are close, make them visible to birds before you add traffic. Use a 2-inch by 2-inch pattern of dots or lines on the outside glass, a spacing promoted by the American Bird Conservancy, so reflections become visible barriers instead of fake forest. Place feeders within 3 feet of a window, so any strike is a harmless bump or beyond 30 feet. So birds have time to steer. If cats visit your yard, keep yours indoors or in a catio and talk kindly with neighbors. Even a bell or a brightly colored Birds Be Safe collar can help reduce successful hunts. Containers are not second best. If you rent or you're testing, a 5-gallon or larger pot with a drainage hole is a fast track to week 2 action. For vines like coral honeysuckle, add a small trellis and tuck the pot against a stable railing or fence. For coneflowers or sages, use a 12 to 18-inch wide container, so the root zone stays cool and moist longer. Water potted plants more often than in-ground ones. Daily and heat the first week, then 3 times a week as they establish, until you see steady growth and visits. Top dress with thin layers of shredded leaves or fine bark to slow evaporation. Let me give you quick visual cues, so you know the 30-day promise is happening. Day 7 to 10. You'll see bees and small native pollinators find the plant first. If you never saw tiny bees in your yard before, this moment alone is worth the effort. Day 10 to 14. A hummingbird or butterfly hovers and retreats. A chickadee or small warbler lands for a second and pecks the underside of a leaf. A goldfinch lands and tests a coneflower disc. Day 15 to 21. You'll get your first repeat visitors at the same time of day. A catbird or robin checks ripening berries. The finch stays longer and starts leaning into the seed heads. Day 22 to 30, traffic regularizes. The feeder you forgot to fill is suddenly less important because the yard is feeding itself, and you start to look for new places to add one more native when the season turns. Season matters. So here's how to play it. If you're planting in spring or early summer and your starter has buds or open blooms, you can absolutely see bird use in a month. If you're planting in high summer, water more carefully and expect fast pollinator activity and finch interest as seed heads form. If you're planting in fall, you'll still support insects and structure right away, with a berry or seed payoff showing next season, and you'll set your yard up for an even stronger spring. Winter plantings in mild climates can work for shrubs and small trees. Birds will use the cover instantly and the snacks as soon as they arrive. Where to buy is as important as what to buy. Search Native Plant Nursery, plus your city. Check your state extension's plant lists or native plant societies. Use Audubon Native Plant Finder, enter your zip code, for species and local sellers. Ask the nursery if their stock is treated with neonics. If the answer is, I'm not sure, pick another vendor or species you can confirm. When in doubt on a label, favor straight species names without quotes and without big box marketing names that promise endless blooms or double petals. Those features often trade wildlife value for show. Keep your plan simple for the first month. Plant once. Water well. Watch daily for 1 minute. Write down the first hover, the first probe, the first pick, and the first theft. Those 4 notes will teach you more than any chart. If you want to accelerate, add water and cover. A shallow dish set in shade with flat rock for footing. Scrubbed every 2 to 3 days in heat. Plus 1 untrimmed thicket or shrub where birds can stage their visits. That pairing, native food plus safe water plus cover, makes the whole yard feel like a feeder that never runs out and a park bench that never moves. If you need a nudge, take the One Plant 30-Day Challenge with me. This week, buy a single native from your region. Serviceberry, coral honeysuckle, purple coneflower, desert willow, red flowering currant, or your local equivalent from a trusted native nursery. Put it where birds already pause. Water it like a promise. In 2 weeks, tell me the first thing you saw. Hover check, insect probe, seed pick, berry theft, and the exact day it happened. In 4 weeks, tell me what returns daily and at what time. Include your region and nursery name in your comment. so neighbors can copy your success. And if your label says double flower, sterile, or anything that hides a nectar center, set it back on the shelf and buy the straight species instead. That one choice can be the difference between a plant that looks good and a plant that feeds a whole block. You don't need to change your identity to change your yard. You just need one right plant in one right place, watered for 4 weeks. Birds will do the rest. The goldfinch will show you with a lean. The hummingbird will sign its name with a hover. The catbird will carry a berry like a bright period at the end of a sentence you planted. And you'll hear your mornings fill. Because you turned a pretty corner into a living map. Plant this. See more birds in 30 days. And then, if you like the feeling, plant one more. Your yard doesn't need to be perfect to be valuable. It just needs to start.